They definitely showed up. They got the juice. They ready to roll. So come on in. Thank you very much. Want to shout out some people. Let's see who's out there. Come on in. Let us know. We are definitely excited that you are definitely here. All right, who's out there? Let me know. I saw Valerie put a B in the chat. Welcome back, Valerie. Yes, definitely. And Valerie, where are you chiming in from? Did you put that in the chat as well? Let's see. Let's see. What did she put? Yeah, she sure did. She put Tennessee. All right. Welcome. Who else is out there? Oh, we got Rich Rising Family, ATL, Georgia in the building. Welcome, Kim. Thank you. All right. Who else is out there? Oh, we got what? Yolanda, Pasadena, California. Welcome. Come on in. Absolutely. Who else is chiming in? Oh, we got people that are the guests. I love it. Who else is out there? Brian. All right, Brian. Elma, Washington. Correct me if I'm wrong. Welcome, Brian. Glad you made it. Felicia from West Palm Beach, Florida. Come on in. Thank you. Glad you all are making it in. We're about to get started here momentarily, but we are glad to welcome you as other people pop on. Because, like I said, you could be doing something else other than being here, hey, Sunday or the weekend. Oh, I just saw somebody else pop on. Chanel, welcome. Chanel chiming in. Alvin from Cincinnati, Ohio, welcome in. So glad you all are making it in before the juice gets started. Yeah, absolutely. As always, we definitely have a talented crew in front of the camera and behind the scenes as well. So what do we say? We always sharing our talents. And you never know. You just never know what we got going on. But we definitely have a crew member that video for us, our own special video. You better believe it. And we definitely love it. I mean, every single time they play it, I enjoy dancing to it. So feel free to dance along when it pops up on your screen and definitely and definitely sing along if there's any words to sing along to. Who's just joining us? Ah, Jasmine, welcome. Come on, people. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm gonna call you out either way. I see Carrie. Welcome, Carrie. Javon. Dwayne. Danette. Tell me where you are chiming in from. And like I said, if this is your first time on the Jew Show, put a 1. If you've been here before, put a B. We are glad you all are popping in, spending time with us. I promise you, we won't have you all day long. But the juice we're about to share with you is definitely a special treat. So, the video that we are looking for is our own personal juice show video. All right, peeps, here we go. We about to go ahead and enjoy. Definitely.
Yeah. Come and get the juice. Yeah. Juice is respect, power. How far will you go to get it?
Yes, how far will you go to get the juice? So we're going to introduce the juice crew, and then we're going to introduce our special guests. So we got James, we got Jerry, we got Bobby, we got Teresa, we have myself as well with the Juice Crew. All right, let's get this party started, everybody. Here we go. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a remarkable guest whose journey reflects discipline, vision, and bold entrepreneurship. Joining us from what sunny Santa Ana, California, is a proud United States Marine Corps veteran, someone who understands the value of discipline, leadership, and service from the front lines. After completing his service, he transitioned into the world of accomplished civil engineer with degrees from two of the most prestigious institutions in the country, UCLA and Stanford. That alone speaks volumes about his drive and commitment to excellence. But he did not stop there. No. While successfully building a career in engineering, he simultaneously, yes, began building something else, a thriving real estate investment portfolio. That entrepreneurial spirit eventually led him to launch the Flow Authority, a company dedicated to helping others create wealth and financial freedom through both active and passive real estate investing. His mission isn't just about buying properties, it's about building futures. Through the Flow Authority, he empowers individuals and families to take control of their financial lives. And uniquely, he also integrates a network marketing opportunity within the real estate space, giving people additional innovative pathways to earn and grow wealth in a way that aligns with today's dynamic economy. Whether you're a seasoned investor, someone new to real estate, or you're just curious about building passive income streams, today, today, the conversation is sure to give you inspiration, strategic strategy, and tools you can use. Let's give a warm salute. Welcome to the multi talented and purpose driven Chris Jensen. Woo woo! All
Woo!
right.
Thank you so much, LaShawn. Yeah, super excited to be here, and thanks to all my guests and folks that popped in. I noticed a bunch of you guys that joined so far, so let's get this party started.
Nice, nice. Welcome to the Juice Show podcast, Chris. We're happy to have you. Um,
Yeah, I need to
so
get one of those cool shirts, man. You know, I'm over here with this nerdy civil engineering polo.
yeah, we got to make that happen. We got to get our guests some shirts, man. Like get a guest shirt, Definitely. No, I agree. Actually, I think we just got some in, so we have to put some more in the order. I think we're getting a
Nice.
getting a shop or something like that so you can purchase the shirts or be able to get the shirts too. So no, well,
Sweet.
you're on the
Let me
list,
know.
brother. You're on the list, brother. Cool,
Sounds
cool.
good.
All right. Well, welcome to the show again. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you were raised in Wisconsin and you now reside in California, but how was it growing up for you? And what was your vision? How was home life for you?
Yeah, like you said, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, grew up in Green Bay. So huge cheesehead for those of you who watch football, big Packers fan, which is hilarious because we've got what Detroit and Chicago on the show. So hey, that's all right. You know, fun rivalries there, of course. And but yeah, I loved growing up in the Midwest. I mean, we got all the seasons, we got um Green Bay is a small town, believe it or not. I mean, it's maybe 100,000 people. And so pretty tight-knit community. And just, I grew up with that Midwestern culture, like learning to work hard and put your best foot forward. Close-knit family, growing up with, grandparents a block away, could literally walk to my grandma's house, which was, super fortunate to have something like that around. And yeah, awesome time. And then just, right after high school, pretty much, in fact, when I was still 17 years old, I signed up for the Marine Corps and got my parents, they had to sign off on that because I was not 18 yet. But the month of my birthday, I shipped out to boot camp. Um, and from there, came out here to California. And yeah, you kind of shared some of the story a little bit, but yeah, that's a little more about my
Okay.
background. Yeah.
All right. So what was the decision that made you go into the Marine Corps or the military? Was there something happening, or did you figure that you didn't want to pursue college at that time? Because I know right after high school, everybody just goes into college. So
Hmm.
what was your mindset on going into the military, especially before 18? Is it something that past family members did, or something that you were interested in prior, or how did that work out?
Yeah, definitely. Like both my grandparents, both my grandpas were in the military. I believe I was the first Marine though. One was in the Army, one was in the Air Force. My stepdad was also in the Air Force. Um, but the Marine Corps, I mean, I talked to all the recruiters. The Marine Corps is the best of the best. And in fact, the Army guy was just throwing me bonuses. He was like, "Oh, come do this. We'll give you $3,000 bonus. Come do this. We'll give you a $5,000 bonus." But I wasn't doing it for the money. I wanted to join to serve my country, and the Marine Corps was the opposite. They literally said, "We're not giving you a bonus, dude. You haven't shown us anything. Like, we give bonuses to people who prove themselves." And after your first 4 years, then we can talk about a bonus when you re-enlist. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, I want to join for the right reasons. And yeah, the Marine Corps, man, the best of the best. So I thought early on, I looked into joining the military and then kind of stopped thinking about it for a while. But honestly, I did really well in school. And then my senior year, I kind of started hanging out with the wrong crowd, and had a change in, I guess, mindset at the time. And um, it's probably a good thing I took a break. Let's just say that it's a good thing I took a break from school before jumping straight into college. So yeah, I'm happy that it worked out the way it did. And I learned so much in the military. I mean, it was when I was in it, I can't say I was the happiest guy in the world. It wasn't the most fun time in the world or anything like that. But looking back, super grateful for the experiences I had, the people I met, and all the benefits that came from that now I can take advantage of.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you for your service, brother. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
You
you. Thank
bet.
you.
You bet.
Yeah, just feeding off Bobby's last questions. What benefits do you get as far as being in the Marines that apply to real estate?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, the biggest benefit, is the VA loan. And so, if you guys aren't familiar with that, and if you're a veteran, you should be familiar with that. And if you're not, or you just haven't looked into it too much, definitely hit me up because I've helped other folks just educate them a little bit about it. Now, I'm not a lender or anything like that, but I've gotten two VA loans myself, so I've gone through the process a couple times, and I, have my own experiences with that. But it's an amazing opportunity because you can actually put 0% down. There's some other great programs out there for non-veterans like FHA and things like that, where you can, put as little as 3.5% down. But in those cases, you also have to pay PMI, private mortgage insurance, which can be very expensive, and that's just money wasted, thrown away. It's to secure. It's an insurance policy for um, the lender. But when you go through the VA, the government, the Department of Veteran Affairs, actually insures the loan for up to, I forget if it's 20 or 25%, but it's enough where the lender said, okay, yeah, you can put 0% down as long as you qualify with, like, your income and debt to income ratios and all that kind of stuff. And you usually get the requirements are a little bit eased on that kind of stuff, and you usually get pretty favorable rates too, kind of the lower end of the rates. So lots of good things. And what most people don't know about it is you can have more than one VA loan. So they have what they call an entitlement amount. And depending where you're located, that amount's different. But if you use one VA loan and you haven't used your full entitlement and you've lived there for over a year, and now you want to move somewhere else, maybe turn that into a rental. That's what I did with my first home. Um, you know, then you can go qualify for another VA loan and do it again.
Man, that was thorough information. Really good. But
That's,
so I know
I'm
a
an
lot of
engineer,
people.
man. I get into the weeds. So
Yeah, so Chris, is engineer, man. And the one thing I learned about him talking to him this week is, man, is very sharp, very knowledgeable, and just like I think maybe 2 years in, just done so much in real estate, and he has the gift to want to give to people. And he said, man, I want to do more podcasts this year. I want to spread the message about how real estate has changed my life, and obviously the people like you see on here, our lives, and other people who take advantage of it. So I like the cash flow hat, man. I like that because I
heck
know
yeah.
you're a buy and hold real estate investor. But one more question about being a Marine. What lessons did you learn that apply to like real life or business that you got being in the Marine?
I mean, the main thing, and I mean, I might have had some of this before too, but I think it just really strengthened some of these aspects. Is, time management, organization, working on a team, discipline, hard work, and then just perseverance and tenacity. Like, going through boot camp, going through after boot camp, we have combat training for a month. So just going through all those very intense trainings. You're doing it together, so you're getting that teamwork, but then you're also just learning to persevere and really push through anything, even just the craziest things that you wouldn't think you could do, and then you do them. You just do them because you got to do them. So yeah, learn to push through in the face of adversity. That's probably the biggest thing.
I love that, Chris, because when you were saying that, when you mentioned the word teamwork, I'm thinking how y'all lined up and y'all moving as a unit together, like
Yep.
and harmony. And I'm thinking like it's so similar to like our community, whereas like you don't feel like you're left, you're not out there by yourself. You're not alone, which alone, creates that confidence in you. Like I'm not in this journey myself. Like there's other people going through the same trials and tribulations as me. I just gotta suck it up and put my best foot forward. So
Definitely. 100%.
Ice. So look, so thinking about the pivot from engineering to real estate. What was that actual like? Like what was that actual move that made you like dive into real estate?
Yeah, well, I think like a lot of folks, people can probably relate to this. It happened during COVID. So I started. Well, I was lucky that I had a job where I could work from home, so I didn't have to stop working and getting paid during that time. I know a lot of people had a really rough patch during that time. Um, so I started working from home. I was single, no wife or girlfriend or kids or pets or anything like that, right? So I was working from home and just got kind of isolated, got bored, got lonely, all those things. Was looking for an outlet and started getting into investing in stocks. Quickly learned that wasn't for me, and then was just reading books on a bunch of different things. And my dad actually kind of introduced me to the idea of real estate. He's the reason that I went and bought my first condo with the VA loan. He educated me a little bit on that because he has owned properties in the past, and he's also a tax preparer, so he had some of that background. And so that kind of got my foot in the door, just reading books. But I tried doing it by myself, doing it alone. Um, and when I tried going bigger and buying like a multi-unit, a duplex, I put in about 15 offers on 2 to 4 unit buildings out here in California. And no matter how high I put my purchase price, I got outbid by somebody else every time. And and I'm glad I did because the prices I was throwing out there now knowing what I know, that wasn't sustainable by any means. Like I would have been in trouble. So I'm glad that didn't work out. I'm glad that I held on to the condo I had instead of selling it. And then ultimately by waiting, I met my friend Nate. Um, just through Facebook, through mutual friends. We went to the same high school, and he introduced me to the community that we're all a part of now. So yeah, that was kind of the turning point. But it all started with COVID, just that isolation, looking for some other outlets.
Nice, nice. So it sounds like you became a landlord, right?
Yep.
Is that your real estate investor's ID in terms of buy and hold? Is that what you specialize in?
Oh yeah, 100% buy and hold. Yep, buy and hold.
Okay.
So
All right. Cool. Cool. And so, have you had any deals that go sideways that you learn from?
yeah. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm actually in the process of selling one of those right now because it went sideways. And um that one, the main thing with that one is I went in with one what we call exit strategy. And it wasn't to buy and hold, so it was doing something different, right? Which is fine. You can try different things, but I didn't have any backup plan. And what we teach in the community is to have, ideally, that you want to have at least three viable exit strategies, right? And so I had one and it didn't work. And
Mhm.
so I got stuck with this property and it's been costing me money. Now the good thing is that real estate's pretty forgiving. So I've lost money month after month, but my tax returns have been nice because that counteracts all the other cash flow I'm getting from all the other properties, and so I didn't have to pay any taxes on those properties anyways because of that. So, and just honestly, the lesson learned has been great. So, but yeah, that was the biggest sideways deal that I've had.
Nice, nice. And then my last question, because I know like being in Wisconsin and now you're in California, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Midwest, I just gotta say, y'all, we got the best real estate in the Midwest, y'all. As far as price and all of that, right? So where do you specifically like to invest? In what part of the country?
Yeah, so I mean, mostly Wisconsin. That's the area that I know. Like I said, I tried out here. It was on my own, but that was one of the things that when I joined the community, one of kind of my teammates suggested is, well, why don't you look somewhere else? Like you're already familiar with Wisconsin, you know people out there. Why don't you go look in Wisconsin? I'm like, okay, why not? And the classes and the community encouraged me, gave me the confidence to do that because I mean, we might get into this, but there's a whole class on managing property managers, and that's what you have to do when you're not local, especially when you're not local and you
Nice.
don't have your own eyes on the property.
Hmm. No, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. So, getting into like the education, because I know some people might, it sounds like you tried real estate on your own without having a community and just going out there thinking, oh, you just buy it, you throw somebody in it, and you're pretty much already set to go. But there's guests on here now who um, might not think education is the right way to go, or looking more into it, or getting involved with the community, or investing in themselves to the point where they can get to the point where they want to. Is that something that you would recommend before jumping into this with like, I don't know, people think, I can go on YouTube, or I can, read some books, or just look online, or just be like, okay, so it says to do this right here. Would you, what way would you recommend, since you tried it before and during the education?
Yeah, I mean, 100% I would do some sort of education program. And then I do feel like the community is also an essential component of that. So, um, you know, in the Marine Corps, and I was thinking about this earlier this morning. I'm like, in the Marine Corps, some people don't know this. I mean, obviously we have to train, but in addition to the training, in boot camp, there's a classroom component where you have to sit there and get lectured on, take notes, and then you get tested on it. That's part of boot camp. So I mean, you're learning there. Of course, as a civil engineer, I had 5 years of school, had to take all these tests, and none of these clients that I'm now working for would trust me without that degree, and they wouldn't trust me without my engineering license, right? I mean, same with, you know, you go to the doctor, you got to get surgery. Like, are you going to trust a surgeon who has no degree, who's never gone to school, who just watched some YouTube videos, right? I mean, you know, so it's no different. And the thing about real estate too, a lot of people get discouraged because they try to do it on their own. And, you know, you think my sideways deal was bad. I mean, imagine if I didn't have any of the education and community to give me ideas of, well, what can I do to kind of remedy this? So it could have been way, way worse. And a lot of people do one deal and it goes so bad that they never want to think the word real estate ever again because they weren't educated and they didn't have people to support them. Uh, so that's yeah, like 100%. You know, it's worth every penny. And look, if you don't have enough money, this is another thing that I've learned, that I've heard recently, that I agree with 100%, is if you don't have enough money to go put a down payment on a property, then you shouldn't, you know, you need to just put every penny you have into investing in yourself 100%. Even if that's self-development, whatever it is, you got to invest in yourself. That's going to stay with you the rest of your life. The things that you learn by investing in yourself, whether it's real estate education or something else, you can't go wrong with that.
No, I 100% agree. And no, thank you for putting that into perspective, because you know, just as we do Gesundheit. So
Thank you.
so you know, being in this, and people, you know, might just want to skip that step and just be like, look, this is what we, you know, we can just go in here and get it and make it happen, but without having a lot of things in this proper steps in place, you know, who knows what could happen. And you don't want to be on the other end of that, whatever that may be, and not knowing enough in order to make that happen. So with that said, tell us a little bit about the Flow Authority. What is that all about?
Yeah, so you know, the name came from my civil engineering background. I focus on water projects. So the term flow, we use that all the time I still have my day job as an engineer. And so, yeah, flow, you know, what's the flow? We always talk about flow. But there's this analogy between water and life, right? Where water, I mean, think of something like the Grand Canyon. Water over a long period of time has carved that canyon. So the flow of water is carving these canyons. And in your life, you have your own flow, right? The decisions you're making today kind of dictates what your life looks like. We're responsible for our own life through our choices, our actions, our decisions. And so our flow is we're in full control of that flow. We have full authority of that flow. And that's what ultimately carves our canyons, which, you know, could be your legacy that you're leaving behind for generations to come. And so I think of this as, I just love that analogy, but I think of the canyon as sort of my vision. What do I want my ideal life to look like? What legacy do I want to leave behind for my loved ones when I'm gone? And then, okay, now what do I need to change about my life to start carving that canyon, you know, chipping away one step at a time. And so that's where the name came from. And ultimately, I'm just all about introducing other folks, like we're doing right now, to this program that's helped me so much. I mean, it's completely changed my life. Um, you know, I never until I joined this group, it's just been one step after another, following kind of the status quo. Okay, all right, the Marine Corps, and then I get out. All right, what's next? I got to go to school. I got to get a job. What do I want to go to school for? What do I want my career to be? Once I had the career, well, now what? You know, start a family and just work till I'm 65 and retire off my 401k. And well, we kind of talk a lot about in the community how that's not such a great plan either. So, like, what is a plan? So, anyways, I could go deep into all these avenues, but yeah, that's kind of what it's about. Just introducing people to the same group and community and education that's changed my life, and helping people whatever their goals are, figure out how to get them to where they want to go in life and dream big. You don't have to just get a job and work till you're 65 and you know, live mediocre life.
Mm, perfect. No, sounds great. Sounds great. So that's the flow authority, people. Uh, if it's not something the flow authority, find out what you want to do and build upon it. But if real estate investing is something that you want to start with, you're in the right place. Like I said, with the right people doing the right things and are just looking to help you. So nice. Sounds good. Thanks for that.
Right on. So when I was thinking about the flow and mentioned water, I'm thinking about the word currency, right? And current sea and how it just flows. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking that, it's just that constant movement, constant movement. You just can't sit still like in life. And as a real estate investor, we have to constantly move, constantly have the flow of deals and stuff coming in. So, all right. So you right now, you're in California, correct?
Correct.
And so that means if you're investing in Wisconsin, you are miles and miles and miles and miles away. Right.
Yep,
So with
exactly.
sometimes, people get started, they just they can't find deals in their own backyard. How are you finding your deals? What's your lead generation method?
It's a combination of sources. I've I've tried all sorts of different things, but I've gotten deals from the MLS, so on market. I've gotten deals from Facebook Marketplace. I've gotten deals from Craigslist. I had one directly with the seller through Craigslist, actually. And then wholesalers. I get a ton of deals sent to me from wholesalers as well. So yeah, kind of a combination of all the above. I have mailed letters that led to a few follow-up calls and things, but didn't lead to any deals. I've also done like social media posts. I did wholesaling for a little bit, and that led to one deal that way as well. Just joining Facebook groups and throwing posts out there, and seeing who responds to those. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different things you can do, but mostly it's been on market, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist.
So that alone, he just gave us a bunch of different lead generation sources. So you can't think like, oh, it's one way. No one just does one way, right? You want to implement multiple different lead sources. We say at least three to five minimum, so that way you can constantly having deals come in. That way you don't get dry, or you stuck and get too caught up on one deal emotionally, where you like you have to make the numbers work, where you fudging them and everything. It's crazy. But so
Yeah, I forgot. I've even done some cold calling and roadside signs. I gave that a shot for a while.
yeah.
So, it just you gotta whatever method you choose, you gotta stick to it. You can't bounce around too much. So, yeah, you should have a couple. I would say start with one and then kind of build off that. Eventually, you want to get to multiple, but you want to get good at those couple strategies because they all work. I mean, they're there because they've worked for other people. So they all work. It's just a matter of consistency and duplication and multiplication.
All right, now this is the question everybody want to hear, because this is what I hear what people fear being a buy and hold investor, right? And like I said, you in California, properties in Wisconsin. How do you manage it, and are you afraid of tenants?
Tenants, termites, and toilets. The three T's, right? I use well, I have one property here locally that I self-manage. All the ones in Wisconsin, though, and the one in Utah, I use a property manager for all of those. So I'm fairly hands. I mean, I'm still hands-on. I manage my property manager, and I probably manage them more than other investors would, partly because of the education, partly because that's just my personality. But and it's my investments. I gotta stay on top of it. But yeah, that's the main thing. I leverage the team that I've built for myself out there, and I've gotten burned with the first property manager I had too. So like when you talk about deals going sideways, the deal hasn't gone sideways necessarily, but I have had, issues with that. And so I've learned from those experiences as well. I have a new property manager, actually two new ones now that are going much better, much more smoothly so far. And in learning from that, I'm also leveraging, like my stepdad just visited me for my birthday out here in California with my mom. And he's been a maintenance supervisor his whole career. So he's like, Chris, he's like, I'm basically retired. He's like, you ever need me to go drive by a property, even if it's way down in, Milwaukee or Racine, I'll go, like, just pay me for the gas, dude. I'll go down there and I'll make sure that they're doing right by you. I'm like, okay. So we have a rehab project that we're working on right now, and it's going to be finished up by the end of the month. So he's going to go drive down there and just do like a final walkthrough. And yeah, so it's great. The more people you got on your team that's got your back, they can kind of checks and balances. Like that's the main thing. So you need a solid property manager that you can trust. But then even with that, you need those checks and balances to make sure they're actually looking out for your best interest.
And then just curious, is that a tenant friendly state or is it landlord friendly in Wisconsin?
I mean, from my experience, it's been more landlord friendly. There are, local differences among some of the cities, but generally, I'd say it's more landlord friendly for sure. You know, yeah, I'm actually going through my first eviction right now from a property I just bought. Two of the five tenants were evicting, and within a month and a half. We'll see. It depends how the judge rules, obviously, but assuming there's no reason that they would rule against it, I don't think so. Yeah, you can get tenants out pretty quick if they're not abiding by the lease agreement.
Yeah, Chicago 6 months, so that's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Much different in Wisconsin.
Yeah, this is nice, man. But before we lead into that, because we definitely gonna talk about the classes that you chose and how they helped you. And you did choose property management. Yesterday, I've learned from a female investor doing buy and hold that
Mm.
she hires or that she got from property management class. Um, she hires property managers to manage the property man. I was like, wow, that is interesting, but very unique, right? And
Yeah.
so that's definitely, do you believe in your heart of hearts that anyone can become financially free?
Yeah, 100% I do. 100% I do. It's a mindset. 100% it's a mindset.
Okay. And so what would you tell that person who had that challenge with believing that how what would be their first step to moving towards that or even thinking about it, right? Because they don't have the mental capacity to even think that that's possible. What would you say that their first step could be or would be?
I think, like I said, it's all about the mindset. So I think that's the first step is learning to think differently and understanding that you are in the situation you're in from the decisions you've made and the thoughts and beliefs that you've had up to this point, right? So if you continue to think and believe that way, and you don't change anything, nothing's going to change in your life and circumstance. It's going to always stay the same. So if you want something different, and just go look at, there's so many examples out there, but there's examples of others who, in some cases are even billionaires who started from nothing and they built that in one lifetime for themselves. So of course, you're no different. They're not special. They're not lucky. The luck tends to come, the perceived luck tends to come to people who put themselves out there and take action time and time again. And believe me, those people fail a lot. They fail often, but they learn to get back up and they're not discouraged. You don't hear about the failures, you hear about the successes and how they're billionaires, right? So, it starts with the mindset. That's why I was saying, if you only have a little bit of money, what can you put that money to start developing your mindset? Because you got to change your mindset and your belief system first. You just go buy some books on Audible, some self-development books on Audible for cheap and start to work on that aspect.
sure, for sure,
Yeah, you just said Ron coming talking about mindset about a few episodes ago, man. So that's what you just reminded me of.
for sure. So
Yeah,
talk to
definitely.
us, Chris. Tell us about these three classes that you chose. What do
All
they
right.
what do they mean to you? How did they help you?
Yeah. So it's a tough choice. First of all, we've got so many classes. So, and I've watched a lot of them. I mean, you ask Tabitha, who's in our group, and she'll say like, "Hey, if I got a question about education, I go to Chris because I know he's probably watched the class." But creative acquisitions. All right. This is, I mean, we talk about people who don't have money right now. This is a game changer for them because Chris Albin talks in that class about how can you acquire properties creatively, how can you structure deals creatively so that you don't necessarily have to use all of your, or maybe any of your own funds, credit, etc. So that, and I've done creative deal structures. In fact, my most recent deal, I bought a 5 unit property in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it was a creative deal structure where it was a hybrid between what we call seller financing and a traditional loan. It was a commercial loan. And so between the two of those, I still had to come up with the down payment, not the down payment, the closing costs. So I put about $5,000 to close. That was it. I mean, it was a 5 unit property. I put $5,000 to close. You understand? And so it's insane. And the thing's cash flowing immediately. So, who do you know who's got $5,000? If you don't have $5,000, who do you know who's got $5,000? And that's who you need to be talking to. And then you got to go find these deals and learn to do what I just did. And it starts with that class, creative acquisitions. Um, well, we talked about a little bit about managing property managers. We talked about property managers. Um, and so Chris Wilson is great. He does all the buy and hold classes, more for like 1 to 4 unit properties. And so in that class, he gets really into, because a lot of people, okay, let me hire a property manager, right? Let me hire a property manager. I'm going to choose the one with the cheapest rate, and they're all good, right? They're all professional companies. I'm just going to hire one, and they're all the same. Well, no, they're not all the same. There's so many little things that they can get you on. If they're charging you 6% and everybody else charging 10, there's a reason for that. And maybe they're either making their money up through nickel and diming you with a bunch of other fees, or they're just going to do a horrible job and they're not really going to be managing your property for you, because they got to make money too. That's the only way they stay in business. So he kind of teaches you like what to look out for, what to ask in the interview. And my interviews are probably an hour long with my property managers. And I ask for it, a lot of documentation up front, and some of them won't give it to me. And so I move on. I'm like, all right, then I'm not going to work with you because I need to know that I can trust this individual. And that's where I knew this before getting into business with my first property manager, but she was a referral to me. And so I didn't follow the steps that Chris Wilson tells you to do. So that was on me, right? I take full responsibility when something like that happens to me. Same with the Utah deal, but I just get up and I learn from it, and then I remember, okay, I took the class. I knew what I was supposed to do. That was on me for not doing it. But so listen, when you're watching these classes, take everything they say. It's from their own experiences, and they're saying it for a reason. Um, and then launching a fund. So this is a newer class, and I'm actually kind of at a transition point right now where I really want to scale my portfolio. And so the way that I'm looking to do that is through multifamily, which is 5 doors or more. So that 5 unit would be considered multifamily. But really, I want to be buying like, at least a dozen units per transaction. And after I do one of those, I want to get into 50 units, 100 units, and just keep getting bigger. Well, how do you do that? You're not talking millions of dollars per transaction. Um, and so launching a fund kind of goes into one way to do that. But he talks, even if you don't do a fund, even if you just do what they call a syndication, is very similar structure to a fund. A lot of the same SEC filings that you have to do with the Security and Exchange Commission. And he talks about how do you raise capital. There's so many things in that class that, you know, I never heard of before. I never knew before. I didn't know existed. And just learning that, man, if you can find a deal and you can raise capital, you can really be dangerous, and you can make a lot of freaking money. Like, it's a lot of the more money you raise, the bigger deal you buy, you're getting a management fee that's a percentage of the fund or a percentage of the syndication. So the bigger the capital raise, the bigger your cut. And if you raise $1 million and you got a 2% management fee, for example, that's, so what is this? Oh, no, I'm going to do math on the spot, right? I think that's 20 grand. Okay, so that's 20 grand. Yeah, that's 20 grand. So that's 20 grand a year just with the management fee, not even including your cut of the profits, just the management fee off the top, 20 grand. Now that's raising $1 million. Now you want to raise 10 billion bucks. That's 200 grand a year. Now you're going to raise, 100 million bucks. That's $2 million a year, right? On a management fee. So, it's insane. So your network, which is where you raise capital from, that's why if you ever hear the phrase, your net worth is determined by your network, that is a keen example, direct relationship there. And you got to foster those relationships. Real estate's a relationship game, no matter what strategy you choose, buy and hold or anything else.
Bobby, show them how they can get these classes, man. How they can dive into it and start crushing the game like Chris.
Oh, man. Yo, make some noise for Chris Jensen, bringing you the juice, ladies and gentlemen. No, this was perfect. All right. All right. So, yeah, just keep talking for a minute while I get this share on.
And I know, I don't think no one could just go and start a fund. I know it's a lot of rules around that. What can you tell us?
Yeah, sorry if I made that sound like way too easy. It's not easy at all. But I'm just showing like what's possible, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be hurdles and stuff. And I'm finding as I get into this, as you actually start walking through the process, I mean, I'm talking with the SEC attorneys right now on an 18 unit. I just submitted an LOI for a letter of intent. It's basically like a soft offer. And so kind of getting all the pieces in place and even talking to lenders, I'm learning, okay, for this type of deal, these are the things that I need in place. And I probably, because of all this, I probably couldn't do this is 18 unit. I probably couldn't do a 100-unit deal right now. But once I get this 18-unit deal and then maybe I get another 18-unit deal after that, and I get 1 year of experience in this, now all of a sudden that opens up the door to all these other opportunities. Now I can do a 50-unit deal. And then if I prove myself with that, okay, now I can do whatever the hell I want. So it's just a matter of, you gotta be diligent, do the steps, go through the steps to prove to everybody, to prove to your investors, to prove to your lenders, if you're going through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, to prove to them that you've got the experience and you're successful. You know what you're doing.
Wow. No, that's beautiful. All right. And with that said, we're going to go to the announcements right quick, just let you know what is going on. All right. So every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, you want to be right here on the Juice Show, where we go through and interview different people in the community, let them know what they're doing, where they started, where they're at, because this is for everybody. Everybody who's interested can get involved with the community and learn these strategies, what Chris is talking about, All right, and coming up right after this at 11:30, we got the introduction to real estate investing. How did we learn this information? Who are we working with? What are we doing? All right, so this is who we are, what we do, and how you can get involved. We got our very own Mr. Jerry Ruffin coming up, 10:30 Eastern or Central, 11:30 Eastern. and he's going to go through basically how you can get involved. What is this about? What is this education about? What is this community about? All right. And he's going to go through just for about an hour, just letting you get that information. So if you're brand new and you want to check it out, get with the person who invited you, and we'll get you on to this so you can start learning and getting involved and start making moves and invest in yourself. All right. Cool. Also with our very own Mr. The great James Gavin, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. Make the call, secure the deal. This is a cold calling marathon. So if you want to see how them calls work out or what cold calling is, all right, make sure you join us at the set time. Get with the person who invited you to get you on this. And he's just making calls and reaching out to different people and seeing if he can or leads and securing the deal or see what that looks like. All right. So get with the person who invited you and definitely jump on. Ready, set, dial. Let's get it. All right. Today, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, we have the Real Estate Mastermind. So after you secure the deal, you can come analyze your deals, and you have a group of investors working with you. Like, how would you find the deal? How are you going to fund the deal? All right. What are your exit strategies? Making sure everything is tight knit because everything is a process, and you want to make sure that process is structured well to the point where this is something that you want to do. So you are working with different people, different investors on a lead that you have to see if it's a potential deal or not. So that has 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here. Real Estate Mastermind. Get with the person who invited you and lucky enough, see if you can get you on there. All right, this is the Juice Show podcast page on Facebook. Make sure you like, follow, and review. And if you join this podcast late, this is where all our past podcasts are put up at, so you can come back and review them as well. So if you are on Facebook, or if you have any suggestions on who you like to see on here, or how we can get better at the show, or if you have anything going on, there's the link right there. Make sure you check us out. So even the people who's looking for the podcast or our past podcasts, check us out right here. Just leave a like, follow, and review, and let us know. This is how we grow, people. So hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Now we have deals of the community. All right, deals of the community. This is where you see your name in bright lights of people who's actually taking action in the community and making things happen, taking advantage of what we're learning in this great community of real estate. I see you, royalty. I know our voice is shot, but these are the people taking action, from the community, and we get to showcase and highlight themselves or highlight them and just show love, let them know, and this is just a small fraction of the people that's involved in the community that's actually making moves and taking action of everything that's going on. So we love to see your bright name and lights. So let us know if you know somebody who's actually doing something. And that is it. So if we have any questions in the chat or Facebook, let us know and we'll continue on.
Yes. I don't see any questions in the chat. Are there any questions on Facebook?
Don't have any questions. He's been doing a thorough job explaining how they can get in touch. So can you share with them how or what is the idea, I guess, customer for the cash flow authority? Like who is that prime person looking for you, so to speak?
Just anybody who wants a change in their life. Anybody wants something different with their life and just doesn't know where to start and needs some support. I mean, I'm open to, I'll do free consultations and things like that. So you can easily book a call with me and then we'll see where that goes. If this community is right for you, then that's one strategy. But we have different levels. We can get you on. So I always try to meet people where they're at, and figure out the best path forward. And if that is just, hey, let's start with some Audible books, like I said, to get you into just self-development. I'm not going to get anything from that, but I'm going to be helping you grow and building that relationship with you. And so that's really what we're about. So
Sweet. So if this was your last podcast ever, what would be your final message you would want to leave the world for you to hear, for them to
oh
hear?
man, oh man. Why don't I have something perfectly lined up for this, right? I knew you were gonna ask that question. I would say, look, this is okay. This is a little cheesy. It's kind of my mantra, but it's your life. We talked about the analogy with flow in your life. It's your life, it's your canyon, and it's your legacy. Okay, and it's your choices that dictate what that looks like. You're in full control of your flow. You're in full control of your life. So you can choose, like a lot of people, I've done this myself. You can choose to be the victim of your own life, of your own circumstances and where you're at right now, and blame other people, places, and things for that situation being what it is. Or, which is way more powerful, you can take full authority and take control and take full responsibility for where you're at right now and where you're going to be going in the future. So that's the main thing. Take full control, take full responsibility, and take full authority of your own life, and realize you can do anything, right? We only get one life, and dream big. It's free to dream. So dream big, set things in motion, just figure out, break the problem down to step-by-step pieces, and get started on the right track. If that means reading one book, then start there, read one book. If you don't know where to start, reach out to me. You got people on this podcast you can reach out to that can help you figure out where do you get started. But don't let anything get in your way. Finances, whatever the case, time, money, there's always excuses we can make, but everybody's got the same 24 hours in the day. And for some reason, some people become billionaires who started out broke. So
Yeah.
we all got the same opportunities.
Those is nice sound bites. This is the last one. This is the last one. Look, y'all, I'm cheating.
Yeah.
Last one, last one. Chris Albin said that he don't feel like he deserved the praise.
Oh.
He doesn't feel that way. So if you had to respond to that,
Mm-hmm.
what would your response be?
Oh, I would say, Chris, number one, you're my favorite instructor. Okay. You've got 3 core classes in our essentials track. And you're the only one who's got 3 core classes, and there's a reason for that. And there's a reason that Mr. Bob Snyder decided to put you in the essentials and consider your classes essential. Real estate red flags, creative acquisitions, deal of the decade. How do you find a deal? How do you fund the deal? And how do you make sure, this is a deal and you're not gonna, lose money on it, the red flags. So all 3 of those classes are core foundational classes. I've learned so much from those, and those have kept me out of trouble and saved me and made me a hell of a lot of money. As I just said, because of those classes and learning to structure deals creatively, I was able to buy a 5 unit with $5,000 at the closing table. I mean, that's directly because of you, Mr. Chris Elvin. So yeah, you might feel like it's not warranted, or it's, no big deal, but to people like me who this is a brand new world, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I love how he breaks it down. And I think he's a school teacher by trade. So that's just breaking things down for us in easy to understand and interpret ways is really impactful.
Chris,
Thank
what's
you for
the
that.
next big thing for you that you want to accomplish?
I want to do a double digits, deal, meaning like, 10 plus 10 to 99 unit basically deal. So that's the next thing I want to accomplish. As I mentioned, I submitted last week an LOI on an 18 unit that would be a syndication setup. And so that would, if that goes through, that would be my first time doing that. So these are all unknowns. These are all uncharted territories for me. It's scary. It's makes me anxious and nervous and all that stuff, but that's how I know I'm on the right track. So if I don't feel scared, then I'm taking it too easy on myself. So yeah, that's the next thing for me is doing a big multifamily deal and it's going to be with partners, no matter what the setup looks like. It's going to be with partners. So it'll be my first time really getting into any sort of partnership model.
What's cool about the multifamily is all you guys to get to enjoy the benefits and the profits of, in the property.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, if you're on this call and you're like, Chris, I don't want to get into the weeds like you. I don't want to deal with the tenants, termites, and toilets, but I got all this money sitting here and I want to put it to work in real estate. Then maybe that's another way you could do that, right? Is you could be a passive investor, or as one of my mentors, Scott Rose, says, you could be a lazy investor. Lazy investor. You could sit back on your couch and make money on my deals.
Nice.
Hey,
Nice.
man, so this was awesome, Chris. I want to thank you for coming on. We appreciate you, man, for coming on, sharing your story, being the person that you are in this community, man. And there's so many people watching, right? Again, I always say this all the time. You don't know who's watching you, right? But there's some people that's watching, and they like, man, I definitely want to kind of learn that or get that thing done, right? Where do I go? Who do I help? Right? You're that person you can reach out to. So thank you for being you, my brother, coming on to the Juice Show and juicing the people for us. Thank you, my brother.
Hey,
Thank
Chris.
you.
I have seen your name, I've seen your face. I really haven't met you or gotten to know you, so I'm so glad you came on here. Got to know more about you. I definitely want to say thank you for definitely serving the country. You could have done something else with yourself after high school, but you chose to do that, and I greatly appreciate it. I'm sure all of us do. Um, the fact that you want to take this to the next level and help people from wherever they are is a wonderful exemplary, because so many other people just make their money and then they move on and they don't think about anybody else but themselves. So thank you for being that example of, hey, I made it, but I'm not forgetting where I came from. So I'm glad you came on the show. And I wish you so
Absolutely.
much well and looking forward to you coming back with that double digit.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
Chris,
sure.
this was
Thank
a
you.
great show, man. I mean, everything that you spoke on was spot on. I loved it. It was a great show. And I thank you for saying that sound bit about Chris. Like, that was great. And just showing that real estate can be done from a different state other than where you living at. And even you started out, and 2 years later, man, you just hit the ground running. You just kept putting your best foot forward. And you, like you mentioned to the audience today, it's all a mindset thing. What are you telling yourself, and what are you feeding, and who are the people you are surrounded by? So, man, thank you for being on episode 98. Thank you, Bobby, for introducing us to you. We had a pleasure having you on.
And before Bobby take you out, we are going to play your soundbite for him on the 100th episode, which is July the 27th. So you will get an invite. We'll send
Awesome.
you an invite. But definitely, man, thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Chris, it's a pleasure, brother. And hearing you speak and knowing your story and knowing who you are, and just us to say that we're connected, it's a pleasure, man. Because outside of your classes, what the beauty of this thing is that you got extra help that you can speak with somebody if for a better understanding, or somebody who's already went through that experience, just to get a little bit more clarification and a little bit more knowledge for that person to even succeed, is a great pleasure. And I couldn't be happier to be a part of this community and helping other people, because that's what this community is about. When I tell other people, like, look, we're helping other people, even with deals. Other people are like, man, what if they like steal the deal? Or what if they like, oh, they're making that much money? Or, I said, no, this is all about, what do we say? Cooperation over, what is it? Cooperation over,
Collaboration.
Collaboration over
collaboration
competition.
over
Better than
competition.
competition.
That's what
There
it
you go.
is. That's real powerful. So just sharing your story and being part of it and being that example, like everybody said, just reiterating what everybody else said. We appreciate you, brother. And with that said, since we're short on time, you have been
And
Juiced.
June.
Welcome, y'all. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget about the cold call marathon at 11:30. Don't forget about the introduction with Jerry. So check us out. Get with the person who invited you. We love to see you back. Let's make it happen. We hope to see you here. Let's collaborate. Let's make it happen. Enjoy your weekend. You guys have a nice day.
Yeah, remember,
Thank
have
you, Chris.
100th episode in 2 weeks, you guys. We want everybody to come back celebrate with us. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, see you guys.
Peace.
Thank you, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks.